there's one dish the Drummond family has to have on Thanksgiving, it's mashed potatoes. In fact, I'd say aside from the turkey, mashed potatoes are the most important dish. My family falls into two camps. Half of them are purists. They don't want anybody messing with their mashed potatoes. The other half are more adventurous, so I'm gonna whip up two batches. One will be just the way I always make them, and on the second batch, I'll add some delicious shallots to give them amazing flavor. Now, I just finished peeling a bunch of potatoes, 10 pounds to be exact. So now I'll move over into mashed potato territory. Now, I know it's a little unusual to make mashed potatoes 2 days before Thanksgiving, but there's nothing worse than having to peel potatoes on Thanksgiving Day when there's already all this other stuff going on. So I have a make-ahead version that turns out perfect every time. Okay, so I'll cut the potatoes into chunks so they cook faster, then get them into simmering water and boil them for 20 to 25 minutes. Then moving on to the shallots, they just get sliced into thin rings and fried in olive oil until they're lightly crisp. Okay, back to the potatoes. When they're fork tender, I'll mash them up. Then it's time to add the good stuff. 4 sticks of butter, 2 packages of cream cheese. Why stop at 1? And 2 cups of heavy cream. Don't worry, I'm feeding a crowd, and it's Thanksgiving after all. Some salt, pepper, and I'll just mash all of that in. Now this is what happens to the shallots. Most of them go into the bottom of a buttered dish, covered by half the mashed potatoes and the rest of the shallots. I just sprinkle them in a little pile in the middle. Then I'll just load the other half of the potatoes into a second dish for the purists. Now I'm just gonna let the potatoes cool, and then I'll keep them in the fridge. Then all I have to do on Thanksgiving Day is just pop them in the oven. It doesn't get any easier than that. I love being this far ahead of the Thanksgiving game. Thanksgiving is tomorrow, and it's a testament to how calm, cool, and collected I feel that I actually went out feeding with Lad this morning. I got myself all cleaned up, so I'm ready to tackle the next item on my Thanksgiving checklist, pumpkin Gingersnap cheesecake. I'm just gonna make the crust first. I've got a package of Gingersnaps, and I'm gonna let the food processor grind them up. I want to get them really fine. Okay, the crumbs look perfect. Oh, I love the smell of ginger snaps. I'll add some brown sugar and some chopped pecans. I chopped them pretty fine. And a dash of salt. There's a lot of sweetness in here. I'll just stir this together and mix it up. To bring the crust all together, I'll drizzle in some melted butter. This is about 6 tablespoons of butter, not too much. You just want enough to make the crumbs come together. All right, the crumbs look delicious. So I'll just dump them into a springform pan. And then I'll just use my fingers to press it into the bottom of the pan. And I want to bring the crumbs up along the sides of the pan by about 1/2 inch. Before I pour the filling into the crust, I'm just going to chill it for about 30 minutes. So while the crust chills, I'm gonna go whip up the delicious filling. So I'm just gonna get a whole bunch of cream cheese into the mixer and beat it until it's soft, scraping the bowl once. I'll add a can of pumpkin puree and mix that in, scraping it again. Then I'll add 3 eggs, 1 at a time. That's the first, the second, and the third. Okay, now it's in with sour cream. And next, with the mixer on low, I'm gonna add sugar, cinnamon, nutmeg, and vanilla. I'll really scrape the bowl before giving it all one final mix. Okay, that's done. Ready for the next step. The crust should be all set. Yep, looks good. Now I'm just gonna pour this luscious filling right in. This stuff is divine, delightful, all the adjectives that begin with D that I can think of. I'll just spread this into a single layer. Lad dropped me off, and he actually has to go back out there and work a little bit. I'm sure he won't get as much done without me helping him, but he'll get by. All right, the cheesecake just needs to go into a 350-degree oven for about 50 minutes. Now, while the cheesecake bakes, I'm gonna whip up a delicious salted caramel sauce to drizzle over the top. Not only is it yummy on the cheesecake, but it's also good to drizzle over all the other pies that people are bringing. It's so easy to whip up. Here goes. I just get some butter into a pan, along with brown sugar, heavy cream, vanilla, and some salt. Then I'll gently whisk it for 5 minutes or so, just until it thickens. Now I'll just get the sauce into a jar. Oh, look at that sauce. So thick and rich. Dessert tomorrow can't come soon enough for me. For the cheesecake, I'm gonna turn the oven all the way off, and then I'll open the door just a bit, and I'll let it finish cooking in there for about 15 minutes. It'll slowly finish the cooking, and it'll prevent any big cracks from forming on the surface. Now, the sauce goes into the fridge, and with that, dessert is done. I'm one step closer to a stress-free feast, and that is something to be thankful for. I'm on a countdown to the perfect make-ahead Thanksgiving feast. It's Wednesday, which means the big day is tomorrow. But do I look worried? Nope. Do I look stressed? Not at all. I've got it all under control. A lot of the work's already done, and now I'm gonna make the dressing. Of course, dressing is an important part of any Thanksgiving dinner, and this one is gonna be good. I've just been frying some little bits of bacon, and it's ready to come out. It's not too crisp, it's still a little bit chewy. I've got a whole stick of butter, and it just goes right into the skillet. This recipe is based on one my mother-in-law, Nan, has made for years and years. Her dressing is so good. It's perfect just the way it is, but I'm gonna throw in a few tweaks this year. I think everyone's gonna like them. Okay, the butter's already melted, so into the skillet, I'll throw a bunch of chopped onion, and then a bunch of chopped celery. And then a new thing I'm throwing in is just some diced red bell pepper. I'm just gonna stir the veggies around. They need to cook for about 4 to 5 minutes until they start to soften. All right, these veggies are getting nice and soft. Another tweak I'm adding to Nan's dressing is chopped jalapeno. This is Southern dressing, so I want it to have a little bit of kick to it. And then I'll also add some garlic to give it amazing flavor. Now I'll just let the veggies cook for another couple of minutes. And while they do, I'll mince up some parsley. Give it some nice green flecks and some freshness. For the liquid, I've got some low-sodium chicken broth, and I'll just pour it in, 6 cups in total. The herbs go right in, parsley. I also have rosemary, and I'll stir it around. Alrighty, the liquid's all ready, so I'll assemble the dressing, starting with the bread cubes. I've got the cornbread. This has been sitting out, so it's nice and dry. The cornbread makes the dressing Southern, but I'm also adding French bread cubes. The French bread just gives the dressing some substance and helps it hold together a little better. Now, I've got the bacon that I fried earlier, and it'll just go right in. I don't want this bacon to go to waste. I'll start adding the liquid to the bread. As I drizzle it in, I'll just start tossing the bread together. You could just go in with the whole skillet at once, but I want to give all the bread a chance to start absorbing the liquid. What you want to see are the crumbles of cornbread sort of coating the French bread cubes. I'll just grab the skillet and I'll pour in the rest of it. Oh, this looks good. Now I'm gonna refrigerate the dressing overnight, but if I think it needs a little more moisture, I can always sprinkle some extra broth on top. That's always a good trick on the day. I'll just get the dressing into a baking dish, and I'll hope it all fits. Let's see how it goes. Look how pretty that looks. And those big pieces of red bell pepper are just gorgeous. I cannot wait to sink my teeth into this tomorrow. In fact, tomorrow's gonna be great all around.